In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this awesome outdoor bench made with some 2x4s, some fence pickets, and a little piece of a 2x6. This is a great beginner project, and I'll have the build plans linked below in the description. We're going to start by cutting a 48-inch piece of a 2x6. This is going to be the front support piece. We're going to cut two pieces of 2x4 at 23.5 inches. These are going to be the front legs that we're going to notch out that the 2x6 will fit into. We're going to cut two more pieces of 2x4 at 24.5 inches. These will be the armrest supports. And we're also going to cut two pieces of 2x4 at 24 inches. They're going to have a 15-degree parallel angle on each end. And this will be enough to get us started. On the 23.5-inch front legs, we're going to measure 9 inches up on each one. Mark a line. Make sure it's nice and straight. Then I'm going to come back with a scrap piece of 2x6 and trace it above that line. I'm going to do this on each piece, and then we'll take this over to the table saw and notch it out. And this will be where that 2x6 front support piece will fit into. And if you don't have a table saw, you can always use a miter saw for this, or a jigsaw, or a chisel. There's many ways to do this. I find the table saw is the easiest, and I do have a dado stack. I'm just too lazy to put it in. I get tired of changing my blade all the time. And I know I can't be the only one. Once both pieces are notched out, we'll add some exterior wood glue to both pieces, and we'll fit them right onto that 2x6, making sure everything's nice and flush. I cut these a little looser than I would have liked to, which it happens, it's woodworking. So I'm going to add a couple 2.5-inch deck screws to the back side of that to help hold it in place while that glue dries. This side wasn't as loose. As you can see, I'm trying to beat it into place with my mallet. But once I got it into place, I added a couple 2.5-inch deck screws to this side as well. Now we're going to start with the side pieces. I'm going to measure 15 inches over on each piece. I'm going to do opposite sides since they're going to be mirror images of each other. And on that 15-inch mark, I'm going to attach the 24-inch rear leg with the 15-degree parallel angle on each end. I'm going to add some wood glue. Once I get it lined up perfectly, nice and flush, I'm going to add a couple deck screws to hold it in place. As you can see, it was moving around on me a little bit after I added that glue. You can add some sawdust to your glue, I've heard. I've never tried it, but that helps with the movement. I'm going to add 4 screws to this piece. And then once that one's done, we'll go back and do the mirror image of that same thing, just 15 inches down the other direction. I'm going to mark some lines so I know where to put my glue. And then we'll add the 4 2.5-inch deck screws. And I'm using cedar for this build. I always pre-drill my holes because cedar is so soft. It splits very easy and cracks. And once the sides are done, we can attach it right to those front legs. Same thing, pre-drilling my holes. 2.5-inch deck screws, about 4 of them on each side. And you can see the bench is coming into shape already. It doesn't take long. Then I decided to move everything outside because it was a nice day. And these pieces here are 21 inches with a 15-degree angle on one end. I drilled pocket holes into these pieces. I'm going to pocket hole them right to that 2x6, right up against the legs. That's going to be the first 2. And then for the middle 2, I measured 14 inches over from each side and marked a line. And that was going to be my center point for the next 2 pieces. Pocket hole those into place. I'm using 2.5-inch pocket hole screws here, the blue coated ones, which are for exterior use. And once these 4 pieces are in, we're going to flip it over on its side. Oh wait, first we're going to screw the end pieces to the rear legs. It's a very important step. I don't know how I almost forgot it. But same thing, 2.5-inch deck screws, 4 of them right into that rear leg. I'm using a level to make sure they're nice and flat and straight. Then we'll flip it over and attach the rear support, which is a 45-inch 2x4 piece. 2 pocket holes flush with that seat support. And then we'll flip it over again and do the same thing on the other side. I don't know if you can see here, but it's kind of at an angle. If it's going to be flush under that seat support, it's going to put it at a little bit of an angle. So the bottom part of that 2x4 is flush with the edge of the rear leg. And then those middle pieces, we're just going to toenail right to that back support piece. Then the backrest supports are going to be screwed in right to the side there, and the armrest support. I'm doing 4 deck screws here on each part. And then for this, there's going to be 4 deck screws also, right into the seat support. And notice I'm putting it on the inner side of that 2x4 seat support, and it's going to go for the same thing on the other side, right on the inside part. Doing it this way, I think it just gives it a better look overall at the end. No rhyme or reason. And then once I finally get that one in, we'll add the last one to the side. And it's important to note here that the angle of the backrest supports are going to match up with the angle of the seat supports. They're going to be flush. And then it's time to add the seat slats. These are 45 inches. I used 3 of them here. They're just the 5.5-inch or 5 5/8 or whatever size your fence pickets are. So we got 3 of those at 45. And then we're on the back, we're going to have 4 of them at 42 inches. And I just kind of eyeballed the spacing. And you could also always rip these down to different widths if you want to do that. I just found it easier to do it this way. A lot of times I'll rip them down on different pieces of furniture that I make. But with the dimensions of this bench, it worked out pretty well doing it this way. And then for the armrest, they're 26-inch pieces of fence pickets. Just going to screw those in with some wood glue. Nice and easy. And then I'm going to come back with my trusty paint can and round the edges. And I'll cut that with my jigsaw. And that's all there is to it. Just like that, we have our nice little outdoor bench. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to. And build plans are available. The link is in the description.